There we go. Hello, everybody. It is, I think the first day of spring, or pretty close to it. So, thanks you all for coming out and joining us virtually today. This is, yeah, the March meeting of SwivelSec. And lost my notes. They're somewhere around here. So SwivelSec is also DEF CON 239 chapter. So it was founded in 2019. And our goal is just to provide kind of a free vendor neutral forum where people can come learn about cybersecurity. We welcome everybody at all levels. So we just come together and talk and see what's up in the industry. SwivelSec is part of the Tech Alliance of Southwest Florida. So we'll get to that in a second. The founder of SwivelSec he moved across the state and founded Space Coast Sec. So, we want to give a shout out since he, spent 5 years with the group and really got it going and kept it going. So if you're interested in that, I think they're starting to do some in-person meetings, but for the most part, I think they're still virtual on that side. So they're going to be, I think, DEF CON 321 is what they're working on for the Space Coast countdown. But yeah, so the Tech Alliance is 6 groups. So there's SwivelSec, so Southwest Florida, Information Security, ARVR of Southwest Florida, Southwest Florida Coders, Python of Southwest Florida, Music Makers of Southwest Florida, and Southwest Florida Hackerspace. So we're all kind of our own group, but we come together under the umbrella of the Tech Alliance to kind of collaborate. We'll have meetings where all of the groups come together and join up. We share a Discord server just for collaboration with all the groups. We do our best to not schedule together. So in theory, you can join all the groups and see all of the different activities that we have going on and not have any conflicts. Most of our groups, I would say, meet monthly. I think ARVR is every other month or once a quarter, potentially. So yeah, you can just kind of hop in and join the groups. They all have their own meetup page. The link to the website is going to be on our SwivelSec website now too. So you can link to the Tech Alliance website, which has all the links. We're pretty active on socials as well. So I'll put this up too at the end because I know it's hard to kind of grab everything here, but we do have YouTube, we have a website, we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then the 2 Discord server links, which you should be able to see in the chat. Click on it. There we go. Sorry. For those Discord links, those are the 7-day links. So if you missed it and didn't join in the next 7 days, just let me know. So you can send a message on Meetup and I'll get you a new invite. If you come to our in-person events, we have like a permanent code, but I don't want to spam ourselves by publishing this on the internet forever because that's where this video is going to go. So those are our groups. I also want to mention too, we have a code of conduct for our community, both Tech Alliance and Southwest Florida Discord. So that's on our website as well that you can read about. And we have a imposter syndrome disclosure. So disclaimer, I should say. So that is just something that Adrienne started to, do with her groups, which is just saying, hey, we welcome everybody. We don't judge on, skill level or anything like that. So everybody's open and welcome because we all have imposter syndrome usually at one time or another. So. Oh, and the other thing too, we talk about cybersecurity, right? And there's always kind of some sensitivity with that. So we run our meetings under the Chatham House rule, which means it's designed to create a trusted environment. And the rule is that whenever you have a meeting under the rule that, you can use the information in the meeting that you received, but you're not supposed to identify like the person or who they're from. Or any other participant in that group. So an example is you could say, hey, I heard about something happening at this cybersecurity meeting, and just kind of keep it vague, right? Not specifics, don't say Megan said that she got hacked because their passwords were too small or something, you know, like that's too specific. And we don't want to give away any, you know, potential information that could lead to people getting breached or any of that. But obviously it's good to talk about it. And so, that's kind of the rules of the meeting with that rule. So let me let's see, share. Yes, that was my last slide. Awesome. So we're gonna switch over and let Rianat speak. So I met her through the Geek Girl X conference, which is amazing. So it's a tech conference for kind of women and celebrating them in the technical space. And so let me see. She should be able to start sharing the slides now.
Yeah, I should. Thank you so much, Megan. Thanks everyone for having me. It's nice to be here today. Give me a minute to share my screen. Yeah. Okay, it feels better now. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for having me. And my name is Rianat Abbas. It's my pleasure to be here today. I am a product security manager at AI4i, and also my background has spanned across like different job functions in tech. I started from like product management to enterprise risk management. And I have had like the opportunity to work with like different companies like automobile consulting and also in fintech. So today we'll be talking about like one of the biggest and emerging topic in the industry right now, and it's always what is on people's mind. And there has been like a lot of questions around, can AI actually defend us against cyber threats? So we are hearing all the time about how AI is changing the game, how it is making security faster and more automated. But there is one pressing question about, does that mean we can just sit back and let the machines handle it? Or are we opening up the door to new risk? And that is exactly what we want to explore today. We will look at how AI is being used in security, where it is currently helping, where it is struggling, and what that actually means for the future of cybersecurity. I know I've done like a little bit of my intro, and yeah, I am also like co-founder of Technovel, and one of the reasons why we have Technovel is to talk about like emerging trends in AI specifically, and also how the threats and how companies and tech professionals can also like be aware of what this thing is actually doing. So I just sort of put together some of the highlights of what we'll be looking at today. And there's a need for us to assess what is currently happening in the whole sector of cybersecurity right now. And then we go into how is AI is being used at the moment, like what is currently working. And of course, AI is not perfect. So we'll look at some challenges and current limitations. And I also like put together like a little, should I call it like a trust AI framework that we can use to look at any integrations, or if we are looking at integrating AI into our current cybersecurity-based practices. And finally, we'll talk about how AI is being used on both sides, like on how cyber criminals are using it to launch attacks, and how security teams are also using it to fight back. So it is more of like a battle between a machine versus machine. So human versus machine. That's what I'm going to say. So starting with where it is right now, like we need to probably like have a step back and look at what is currently happening today. And when it comes to AI and security, where does this two really comes? And with what is currently going on, AI is everywhere now. It is not only in cybersecurity, it is changing how businesses operate, how we work, in fact, how we even brainstorm as individuals, what we use. People use different LLM to brainstorm ideas, to come up with like different things. So we are also using it in our day-to-day. So unfortunately, as we are also using it to enhance and make our work more efficient, both in the business and also in the cybersecurity sector, so is also cyber criminals using it to launch new attacks. So there is a report that McKinsey released from early 2024, and found out that 65% of organizations are now using generative AI regularly. And that is a huge number. But looking at how this is currently happening, while more than half of this company acknowledge that AI is introducing serious cybersecurity risk, it is only 38% that are actually doing something about it. So if we have a huge number of organizations saying we are currently using AI or leveraging AI, and half of these companies acknowledge that AI is introducing serious cybersecurity, but out of the half, it's only 38% that are actually doing something about what they realized or what they acknowledged. That is actually like a big gap, and it is already costing companies like a fortune, even before the introduction of artificial intelligence or before automation and all. There is already like a rise in cyber breach and in data breach, and the what is well known is the average cost of a data breach is $4.88 million. And that is not even about the financial loss. When a data breach happens, it is not only to the financial sectors, it also affects the customer trust. It also affects, like, it's also put the company in like legal trouble and also some societal implications as well. So it can, and some businesses, it can shut them down completely. And if that wasn't even like, if people are not looking at what comes in before the introduction of AI, now that we have AI, it's definitely going to open up a lot of door for more risk. And looking at the current state, at least one security breach was tied to generative AI in the past year, after 97% of and that was like from the 97% of organizations that talked about it. So these reports actually gave us insight into what is currently happening. And it is showing that in as much as companies are leveraging AI, in as much as AI is a powerful tool, it is also creating new challenges. And the big question that I also look at from my own point of view is, are we actually like keeping up with this? And more importantly, are we using AI to fight back just as aggressively as these people are using it to like launch new attacks into the systems and also into the networks? So before there is no way we'll talk about machine AI without even talking about like how is machine learning helping cybersecurity, right? We need to probably take a step back and look at it from the positive side. And one big way is from data classification. And I remembered when I was like having a chat with one of the AI engineers that I worked with, and machine learning is actually revolutionizing cybersecurity. And when we talked about data classification, the AI looks at all the traffic coming in and out of a network, and it sorts it into categories. So instead of manually doing this, instead of humans having to sift through all the logs, AI can just do this instantly. So it is already like automating the data classification for us. And our own is just to like oversee what it's doing and also fact checking it. And there is also the part for like threat response recommendation. You know, when an attack happens, currently there are some tools that are working on like AI can suggest the best way to respond based on past incidents. So it's more like recommending threat response, like, oh, this is how best to do it. So instead of the teams trying to figure out what to do, they can get like guided options on what they can do. So even on our own personal, if I'm working on a project, I just like use LLM to brainstorm ideas. So it's also the same way as how people are now coming up with like softwares to now give recommendation on threat response. But I mean, one of the things is this really working? And there is also another part to it, which is the attack path prediction. The way the thing currently works and the way there are a lot of automation tools in cybersecurity, there are some tools that now analyze systems' weak points and they can predict how attackers might try to get in. So this helps like security teams to fix problems before they even become real threats. We know like how far-fetched or how long it can take to be able to actually identify the attack path. But now that with the use of AI, they are leveraging it to actually determine and predict know, oh, this is how attackers might actually try to get in, and we can better curb the situation before it's even happened. And it also helps with like the predictive like threat forecasting. So it can study the past attacks and trends, then predict what kind of threats will come up next. So that is how big the AI is revolutionizing the cybersecurity space. So AI is really like helping. It is helping teams to work faster. It is helping teams to work smarter. But is it enough on its own? And I will say not exactly. And that's because AI on its own, AI cannot really like work on its own without the interference of human. So in as much as we are trying to like automate some processes, we are trying to automate like the threat forecasting, create like threat response, or even sometimes try to like classify our data, we still need like humans to come in and give it a sense of like, you know, human thinking. Is this how it is supposed to be? And also fact check like some things that happened. And with cybersecurity currently, and with the launch of like AI, how AI is automating things, we have currently moved from like reactive to proactive defense. And for a long time, companies only responded to cyber threats after they happened. And that was also like one of the reasons why secure by design even like came up, you know. That is people not thinking about security as an afterthought, but rather embedding it into the process that is from the design phase. So it has always been like after they happened, before companies will respond. So if a breach happens and the team sort of like investigates, they want to take a lot of time to fix it. And that is like a huge thing. By the time they react to this particular breach or the attack that happened, the attackers have already done what they came to do. You know, they've already like exploited, whether they are stealing the data, installing ransomware, or even like shutting down the whole system. So before the company would react to it, the deed has already been done. And so the way cybersecurity has worked for a long time is just so simple. And, you know, if that has to be like that, AI is changing that already. So instead of waiting for an attack to happen, AI can help to detect threats in real time. It can help to forecast. So we are currently moving, or we've moved, even though it is still like a gradual changes, we've moved from like a reactive defense to now a proactive. So we can leverage AI to actually detect what is happening in real time, and also make a forecast, which is like a good shift in the industry, right? This shift like from reacting to preventing is why AI is becoming such a major player in cybersecurity. Companies don't want to forfeit and just like relax and wait till it happens, because the implication of waiting till it happens is actually like huge. Not like I mentioned, not on financial alone, but also the legal implication, which can affect their customer base. Because at the end of the day, companies are also trying to like keep their customers, you know, trying to ensure that their customers trust them, and trying to embedding cybersecurity as part of the value proposition or as part of the business strategy is one of the ways to do that. So the one of the things that would probably like come up from it is, with all this automation that is happening, is it actually safe to automate cybersecurity? And that is a question a lot of people are asking right now in the industry, because we are already seeing a lot of, oh, there is AI security software. Some people are probably, some software are, let me say, AI washing, in the sense that, oh, this tool can help you automate your process, can help you automate your threads and all that, but at the same time, it's not really doing what it is meant to do, or maybe they don't really understand what it is meant to do. So is it actually safe to automate cybersecurity? And from my own point of view, I would say the short answer is yes, but with the right setup, right? AI-driven security is not just something that is experimental. It is built on real-world use cases, something that have already been tested across different industries. So companies are using it to strengthen their defenses, but not to replace them entirely. And one of the big advantage is cost efficiency. AI can currently like process, analyze data much faster than humans. The time that it might not be as accurate or spot all the errors, but it can process and analyze things faster than humans. The best time that faster than how humans can sit down, look at the logs, look at what is flowing in and out. So it's already like taking time, which means like cybersecurity teams can respond to incidents quicker and with more accuracy than ever. And another thing is there is human error. Now, one of the biggest risks in security is people make mistakes. And in cybersecurity, humans happen to be the weakest link. So it might probably be like whether overlooking a warning sign or maybe misconfiguring a system. So AI comes into play to help reduce those risks by automating routine tasks and maybe also like flagging potential issues before they even turn into major problems. And another way where I could say that, yeah, there's actually like an opportunity is it also like helps to improve the decision making. So instead of security team having to manually sift through like different alerts or logs, AI can highlight the most urgent alerts and suggest the best course of action. And I mean, that is one of the best way to be efficient. And finally, AI is also built for scalability. As businesses grow, currently the amount of data that businesses are using is large, and the amount of data they need to protect increases every day. So AI can keep up with this, analyze the massive amounts of data of information that we have across multiple systems at once. So it's just like sift through like different data, no matter how massive it is. So it is built on for scalability. So in as much as we know that AI is not really like perfect, it still needs like human oversight. It is such a powerful tool to be used and leveraged on. But with the current state of things, it is not at the stage where we can confidently trust it to make a decision without human overseeing it. And yeah, there are a whole lot of like dangerous threats in cybersecurity. And I will say most dangerous threats. We have a whole lot of threats. And these are like some of the threats that are, let me say, attached to how AI is growing. Cyber threats are constantly evolving. Like currently there are different ones. There are deep fakes, and maybe we've heard like of deep fakes and how it is being used. And it's also like one of the threats that is currently being introduced with the use of artificial intelligence. But some attack methods remains the biggest concerns for security teams across industries. So it doesn't matter whether you work in fintech, you work in consulting, health tech, there are still like some major cyber threats that are still constant. And whether we like it, AI is also contributing to it. And one of it is like malware, right? It's to put malware in a simpler terms, it is for like a malicious software that hackers use to infiltrate the system. So they put it to steal data or disrupt operations. It depends on their intent to do that. And we also have ransomware. I mean, this is so common, especially in like the industry itself. And this is one of like the most damaging threats today. Like every day, or let me say like every time there's always an attack that happens, it is either ransomware or something that has to be like malware. But most times it's all like ransomware. And they just like want to lock users out of their own system, encrypt maybe critical files, and they would demand for payments. Especially, I mean, one of the sectors that experience ransomware the most that I've seen is healthcare industry. So it's really like so volatile, and having to understand how all this attack works is also good, because as we are looking at integrating that AI, as we are looking at going to that vendor to purchase the AI software and integrate it into our systems, we also need to know that there are some predefined or an established big threats in the industry, even before AI. And we also need to be mindful of all those like attacks, and just like social engineering, even before AI comes into play. Social engineering has been so rampant. I can call of like the number of texts or that I receive from nowhere about, oh yeah, you win something. I'll be like, oh yeah, well, this is phishing. So that is even before AI comes into play. So, and right now that there is now AI, there is now a whole lot of creative ways to exploit people, to study people. You know, they can use AI to study people's behavior online, check, oh, what does this person really like? You know, gather their information. That's why one of the things I used to say is our personal information, our personal information and our web, all the information that we have on the web basically is so important, especially how we protect it, because these people, the bad guys, the threat actors are coming up with creative ways every day to infiltrate and extort people and, you know, just get things from people, encrypt critical files, and either demand payments or use it as a, or use the steal the sensitive information. So it is now left for the businesses that are looking at integrating AI to also look at the part of social engineering as well, not only from ransomware, not only malware. Social engineering, humans are they are the easiest to trick because they are always like little things to put on to individuals to actually like extract a lot of critical information. So these threats don't just affect individual users, they can also take down like the entire supply chains, the entire end-to-end supply chain, spread misinformation, and also like cause long-term damage to businesses and also like to the government. So I mentioned like some sectors earlier, and these are like some of the most targeted sectors in cybersecurity. Government, we have like the government, and this data was released by the security research team last year. So we have like the government being like the 24%. And that is because, I mean, there are a whole lot of like critical national security data, personal records, confidential communications that hackers, including all these nation state attackers, are trying to steal. And also we have like the public services, we have private services, down to like individual IT providers. And they also like, one of the reasons why they target IT providers is because, you know, they sort of like be like a third party chain, and different companies are integrating all those like softwares. So there are a whole lot of information for them to get from IT providers, and also banking and insurance and healthcare. So all these sectors are the most targeted, and they are so important. So if you are working in any of the sector, or you are thinking of working in any of the sector, it is also important for us to contribute to the discussion of, if they are looking at integrating AI, it is bringing up opportunities, but are we taking a step backward to look at where the industry is at the moment and what are the potential risks? How might we actually protect ourselves from this potential risk? What are the things that we can put in place to mitigate this risk? And there are different use cases that are being used in the cybersecurity on how people are using AI. And one of it is like threat detection and prevention. If we know for sure that AI is no more a buzzword currently in the industry, and one of the biggest ways that AI is making an impact is in threat detection. So instead of waiting for an attack to happen, you know, AI helps security teams to spot it and stop the threats in real time. And this is how it actually works. So AI can recognize both known threats like malware, like I mentioned, that is being seen before, and completely new ones by analyzing unusual behaviors. So this is like one of the best ways that AI is helping and people are using AI. And so this is important because attackers are always evolving their tactics, and AI helps security systems to keep up with all these things. And at the same time, AI can pull in security data from multiple sources, both external intelligence feeds and also internal, to stay ahead of like emerging threats. So imagine how long it would take security team to pull up multiple data from different sources. And this, with the use of AI, it can help to pull up the data from like different sources. And this means security teams don't have to manually track everything. So it is all happening in real time. And not all attacks are obvious. Not some are not obvious. As much as people are trying to like put strategies in place, you know, look at different threats modeling. Some threats hide in network traffic. So trying to slip past like security defenses can be like time consuming and hard to detect. So this AI deep packets inspection, there's something called AI deep packet inspection. It can help to like analyze the contents of the network traffic and also detect like anything that is suspicious before it's even get to the critical systems. So that is how robust and how how people are currently, or different organizations are currently using AI in terms of like threat detection. And another area where it is also like that people are currently using AI in cybersecurity is the vulnerability assessments and management. Like a popular thing they used to say is no system is 100% secure. We cannot guarantee that it is 100% secure, but we can put a system, we can put strategies in place to ensure that it is secure. So, but the key to strong cybersecurity is identifying the weak spots before attackers will do it. And for this is where AI comes in, right? Which is like automated scanning and also prioritization. AI can scan entire networks to find vulnerabilities, but more importantly, they can prioritize them based on the risk levels so that security teams know which issues need immediate attention. So instead of them having to like go through it and prioritize the risk, they can easily see the alerts by checking the tools and sifting through the tools. And also AI doesn't just find the vulnerabilities, it can also predict which ones are most likely to be exploited. And that is also what helps them in prioritizing the highest risk and also the mid risk and the lowest risk. And the good thing about it is also the continuous monitoring that comes with it when it comes to vulnerability assessment. So we know that there is always a periodic security checks as a security team, like for all security teams. So the time that we put in place to monitor all the security and also do this periodic security checks is a whole lot of time. So currently AI is enabling like 24/7 monitorings. So it can spot anything at any moment, even when you are not on your system, it can spot it. And also probably you getting an alert, or the next day when you get to work, you can get to see the ones that are most likely to be high vulnerabilities. And at the end of the day, as much as cyber criminals are always looking for like the weak points, companies are also thinking about strategic ways that they can help to stay ahead by constantly scanning, analyzing, and also like fixing security gaps before they even turn into like real threats. And that's like one of the biggest ways that AI is currently helping to make work efficient. And also we have the automated incident response. And this is also another use case that I've seen that's currently like working in the industry. So we know that it is scanning all the threats. It is helping us see which one is the highest vulnerabilities or the high risk to mid and low risk. But when it comes to incident response, the faster a company responds to a cyber attack, the less damage it can cause. And looking at how automated incident responses are, the incident response is at the moment, AI can recognize unusual behavior or anomalies in a system and classify them as potential threats. So instead of waiting for humans or security team to notice what happened, AI can flag the issues the moment they happen, and which is like a good thing, because responding to incidents is also another way that determines the level of risk that a business is exposing itself to, and having a tool that can help to flag an issue the moment it's happened might somewhat reduce the level of risk that will happen. And once a threat is identified, AI is like, for example, if a device is compromised, AI can isolate it from the network to prevent the attack from spreading, which is like a good thing, because isolating the device from the security team might probably like take a couple of time for them to be able to do that. But having a system that can do that, and also humans just overseeing it, is also like a good way that is making this particular emerging trends, which is AI, revolutionize the industry, and is also helping with like the response time as well. So the response times is now faster, and AI fights back just as fast as humans can. It's just that currently it's still, like I used to say, it still needs like some monitoring. We cannot trust AI with whatever decision it is making. Even using it every day as part of like what I use to brainstorm, I still don't trust any information that AI gives me. I still go online to fact check whatever it is giving me in terms of like brainstorming. So it is here to stay. It is revolutionizing the industry. We also have the one for like the behavioral analysis, which is also like another emerging place where it is coming up from. And one of the way is like the insider threat detection. And we all know, to some extent, not all threats come from the outside. Sometimes the danger, the threat is within the company. And that is insider threats. It's not outsider. It is what comes, this is this threat that happen within the company. And AI can detect unusual employee activity. Let's say like someone that suddenly downloads massive amounts of data or is trying to access restricted areas, right? This can help to catch the potential insider threats before they cause the alarm. I remember when someone was trying to like download like a large file that was not authorized based on like the company's network. The system was able to like really flag it, and we just like sent an email to the employee to ensure that we understand what this person is trying to do. And this might have probably like happened if we did not have a system in place to detect this. So this is also one of the things that is helping to make the work faster, and also help us to like combat the insider threats before they cause something huge to the system or even to the company. And the last one that I have here is the security operations and automation. For large organizations, managing cybersecurity is complex. So because there are tons of logs, there are tons of compliance requirements, potential threats to track. But AI is currently like helping security teams to stay ahead by automating key processes. And of course, SIM is one of like what we currently use, but we now see companies, some IT or security providers coming up with AI-powered SIM. And I mean, it's good to see how we can explore what AI can do when it comes to security information and events management, because part of like the key activity of what I even do. And also when it comes to like automated compliance checks, like I've seen different, especially in the past 2 years, I've seen different startups coming up about regarding, compliance checks. It's not something I've really explored, but I've actually like checked like different documentations and really potential of how AI can help with compliance checks. How factual it is not something that has been established yet, but companies are currently exploring that. So cybersecurity isn't just about, it's not even like about stopping the attacks. It is also about like staying compliant. We have different regulations. We have the CCPA, we have NIST, we have GDPR, we have industry-specific standards like IPA, like PCI DSS and all. So AI can continuously audit security settings and flag any misconfigurations or violations, which is making compliance checks faster and even like accurate. So it is good to see like how this particular model, it turns into something big in the industry, beyond just the threat detection, beyond vulnerability assessments, into even compliance, and that is huge because the legal consequence of companies not staying compliant is not, beyond just the financial, as I used to say, is not really like a small thing. Most businesses want to stay in business. They want to keep their customers. They want to keep running. They want to keep running their services, their solutions. And if staying compliant is going to be faster, then automating or leveraging AI is also like something that is making operations faster than ever. And there are challenges that comes with like implementing this AI. If I'm using it at work for vulnerability assessments, what do I need to know about the challenges that comes with this AI that I'm using? And as that's one of the things that I hope this session will also like give us, to also have it at the back of our mind that AI is not perfect. In fact, currently there are still like a whole lot of limitations and challenges that it is introducing, even though it is making our work efficient and automating that some things. So it is not a perfect solution. There are still challenges that organizations that are either building AI or security AI solutions, and also organizations that are integrating this AI security solution, as well as professionals that are using it, need to be aware of when they are implementing, AI-driven security tools. And the first challenge at the moment that is currently happening in the industry is bias. AI is just as good as the data that it is trained on. So if that data is biased, that means the output is not going to be like well refined. So the AI is being trained on data. So only those data, if that data is accurate, then it's going to give us a good output. Then what this actually means is AI might miss some threats. They might probably miss some existing patterns that humans can easily spot, which can make the system even more vulnerable. If I tell the AI to help me scan some logs or some activities, what is the assurance that the groupings that the AI gave me based on high priority, low priority, or mid priority is right? So this thing, the segmentation, the data classification that the AI did is based on the data that is being fed on or that is being trained on. So it is not so perfect for us to overlook and rely solely on the AI. It still needs our own intuition. If I'm using it, I might probably just use it to like do the rough scanning of my work. I will still go back to the data to understand and look at the logs. Let me look at the logs. Let me actually see if it is accurate. So it still needs like human oversight. It is not taking human oversight completely, because currently there's still a whole lot of bias, even hallucinations. If I'm trying to use AI to brainstorm something, and for a couple of times I've seen AI giving me evidence or things that are not even on the internet. And how I do that is I just tell any LLM that I'm using to provide me the source or reference. So that is how I try to even like fact check the information that the LLM is giving me. And even with the link, the reference, I will go and check the reference if truly that data is from whatever the information is. So there's still bias in AI security systems, and in as much as we're using it to automate, it still needs our own intuition. And also another thing is like the data unavailability and manipulation, right? AI needs a whole lot of data to work well, but not all organizations have access to the right kind of data. So even the worst thing is attackers can even manipulate data to mislead AI models, because there is like SQL injections. There are different attacks coming into the AI systems, and they can actually trick the system to ignore the real threats if this particular manipulation is being seen in the system. And we have another one that's like the privacy and the legal complications. So using AI in security sometimes involves like analyzing huge amounts of sensitive data. We have a lot of sensitive data. Let's say for people that work in like the financial technology, there are a whole lot of like personal information, people's social security numbers, a whole lot of their data, right? Which raises questions about privacy and compliance with regulations like, PCI DSS, GDPR, CCPA, IPA, and all. So companies have to balance security with legal and ethical considerations. I know that one of the current discussion when it comes to AI right now is ethics, right? People are coming up with what is the ethics, right? We are looking at the opportunities that it is introducing, But for every innovation that comes out in tech introduces a huge risk to the system, to the industry, right? So, and privacy and compliance is one huge question that before we integrate that solution, before we use it, we need to actually know the kind of data and the kind of data, is it sensitive data that we want this particular system to be analyzing. And we also need to ensure that if we are using AI to stay compliant, are we also making sure that we are not using AI to stay compliant, we not lead the company or the organization into a huge legal issue. Because if I use AI to sieve through a huge number of data, or if I use it to automate my compliance reports, am I also ensuring that at the end of the day, any data that it is giving me or anything that it is giving me will make the company stay compliant at the end of the day? So that is like one of like the huge discussion. And also we have like misinterpretation. Like currently, AI is still not at a place where we would say it is okay for us to trust. It might flag a normal employee activity as a threat. Even employee that is not doing, anything unethical, it can flag it as a threat. So this is where our own comes in. If the system flags something as being a threat, we also have to look through it. Is it really a threat, or is just like a misunderstanding of what it seems like a threat that is not a threat? And the last part is this cybersecurity skills gap. That's like one of the huge challenges of implementing AI in cybersecurity. AI security requires experts who understand both AI and cybersecurity. But the problem is, currently there is still like a whole lot of where do we even need to start as a cybersecurity expert to ensure that we are staying ahead of what do we need to learn? Or maybe the question is, what exactly do we need to learn? We know there is information about, yes, for us to be able to use something, we need to understand how it works. But what do we actually need to learn? So there's still that skill gap for expert when it comes to like experts understanding both AI and cybersecurity, which can actually be like a huge challenge, because for a cybersecurity expert or professional that is working on a system, they need to understand what kind of data that system is being trained on, or to some basic level, how the system actually works. So if we want to use a solution, AI solution, to automate any of our work, to make our work efficient, there's also a need for us to know how AI itself works. What are the type of data that is being used? What are the things that I need to know about it? And also beyond just I think it's also like opens more opportunity to us as a cybersecurity expert, knowing how the kind of solution we are using is being built, and how we can come up with our own expert opinion on, and also advise the organizations, the business stakeholders on what works and what doesn't work when they are trying to purchase these solutions or partner with this third-party vendor. And I put something together on when not to use AI in cybersecurity. AI is a powerful tool, and it is not always the right tool for every situation, no matter what we are trying to do. But there are times when relying on AI might actually cause more problems than what it solves. So one of the things that we have is, if you have a small or outdated data set, this is not the best time to use AI. AI needs a lot of high quality data to be effective. So if your data set is too small or outdated, AI might actually struggle to detect the threat accurately, which means before we can even say we want to integrate AI, we need to ensure that our information, our systems, everything, they are up to date and not outdated. And also, if the organization lacks the necessary skills or resources, in as much as they are trying to use AI to automate and make work efficient, it requires skilled professional to monitor the system. So if this team doesn't have the right expertise, the implementation can be error prone or even like be unreliable. So there is a need for us, and it still goes back to, the cybersecurity skill gap when it comes to AI and cybersecurity. So there is also the need for organizations to look at those parts, the available resources, the skills available before they even like purchase the tool or the software that they are trying to like integrate. And also, if the company relies heavily on legacy infrastructure, older systems and networks were not built with AI in mind, like all the legacy infrastructure. So integrating AI into legacy infrastructure can be so difficult. And let's not even talk about the expensive side, which is the financial part. In most cases, or some cases, it is like more trouble than it is even worth, because legacy infrastructure is built on like older systems. And knowing that we actually have to stay updated, like update the system first before we integrate the AI, so that we will not call into the legacy infrastructure, so that we will not cause more problem than actually the solution that we are trying to get from it. And at the end of the day, what we have to like just keep in mind as we work every day is AI is not a one-size-fits-all solution at all. It can help us to enhance our work, our task in so many ways, but it is also important that to assess whether your organization has the right expertise, whether they have the right infrastructure, even whether they have the right resources to make AI work effectively. So we have to balance the two. We cannot integrate AI into the system. We cannot introduce AI into the team that does not really have too much expertise about how it works. So that is us opening the door and more risk than what we actually want to get from it. And there are some key factors to also consider if we want to integrate or implement AI solutions as tech professionals, as a business leaders. And we have decided, like, if you've decided to implement AI into your cybersecurity strategy, that is a great thing. If you have probably done it, or you are in the process, or you don't even like have an idea of where to start from, before you even move into it, there are some key factors that you need to think about to make sure that the AI, the solution, works responsibly. So, and the first one is monitoring. So AI is not something that you just set into a place and you forget about it. You cannot tell AI to keep monitoring your logs while you do some other things. You need a plan for how you will monitor its performance. We also need to continuously monitoring its performance. And that comes with, how will you know if it is actually doing its job as it is supposed to do? Then what happens if something goes wrong? That's one of the questions that I used to ask myself sometimes, that what happens if this particular software goes wrong? What kind of data have we fed it with? What type of exposure has it been used to? So there's a need for like regular monitoring that will help us like catch issues early and ensures that the AI is improving the security, not creating new risk. Then another one is like the data quality. AI is as good as the data that it learns from. So if you feed it an outdated and incomplete, or even biased data, it is going to make mistakes. So before we even if you work for a company that build AI solutions, before they even start training the AI model, this is where our own expertise comes in when we are talking to this is where our expertise comes in when we are talking to the data engineers, the AI engineers. And one of the things is also giving them our expert opinion about, is this data set clean? Is it well organized? Is it properly labeled? Because bad data is equal to bad security decisions. So even if they are building this huge and fantastic solution that can revolutionize, the most difficult issues that cybersecurity team faced. If it has bad data, it is still bad security decisions. So, and another one we have is like scalability. Your AI system might actually work so well, like it might work really well now, but what happens when your organization grows? Is it going to also scale? Can it handle more users? Can it handle more devices? Can it handle more threats? We need to make sure that our security solution, the AI solution, is built to scale as our needs evolve. So rather than just becoming outdated so quickly. So if you are looking at partnering with that vendor to purchase the AI solutions, some of the questions that we need to keep asking is, when it comes to scalability, can this actually handle more users? Can it handle more devices? Can it handle more threats? This is where our questions need to start coming up with before we even purchase that solution. And if you are building it in-house as well, these are also some of the questions that we need to keep asking the team that are building the solutions, because it's also important for us to consider the scalability part of the AI system or solution that we are building. And the ethical implications is also a real thing. We talked about bias the last time, and bias in AI can lead to inaccurate security decisions. We talked about how if it mistakenly flags illegitimate users as a threat, or even letting the actual cyber criminals itself slip through the door. We need to actually start thinking about the ethical implication. We need to think about the accountability, how AI is making its decisions. Where is human intuition coming in? We cannot confidently say that this is accurate without us fact checking what is currently being used. And on the last side, we have the security and privacy. And finally, that's the security itself, right? AI is helping us to secure our system, but is AI itself secured? No, that's also another thing. So AI models rely on data, and how is that data being stored? How is it being protected? What measures are we putting in place to ensure that AI is not leaking sensitive information or is not being manipulated by bad actors? Because security and privacy should be baked in every step of the AI implementation. If we are using it to secure or automate our work, we also need to ensure that what we are using to automate our own work is also as secured as what we want it to secure. So at the end of the day, it needs the right foundation, from monitoring to data quality to ethics and privacy. We need to get all those things right before we can say that AI is actually a game changer in cybersecurity. But it doesn't stop the fact that it is actually, changing how things are being worked in the industry. And that is where, we have the human decisions versus the AI in cyber defense. We have human decisions, we have AI in cyber defense, and all those things tend to work hand in hand. We cannot leave AI to make its own decision. AI is getting smarter, but does that mean we can fully trust it to defend against cyber threats? Not exactly, we can't. So we need the strengths of both human and AI to the table. We need to bring the strength to the table, and none can actually replace the other. AI cannot replace humans, right? We need humans to be able to fact check what AI is doing. So there is no independence when it comes to us leveraging AI. So the real question isn't AI versus humans. It is more how can they actually work together? So we are going to look at how those things are going to work together. And we have speed. AI is analyzing massive data in seconds, or humans can just take, even as much as human can take longer to process it, humans can still detect errors that is being done, that is being analyzed using AI. So if I tell my AI to help me analyze something, a log, or help me draft a compliance report, or scan through our system to see if we are compliant, AI might probably give me, oh yes, or a 97% score, but there could be like a critical part of the system that we as humans still need to look at and use our intuition to make the judgments. So they still have to coexist together, not like companies have to integrate AI and downsize the number of people that will monitor the AI. That is introducing more risk, because you cannot completely say, oh yeah, we have this AI system in place. We don't need as many people to help us monitor it. We still need those people, but AI is just making their work effective and also helping to spot some things before we do. But we can still need those people to oversee it, to check how it is doing. And also when it comes to like the accountability and ethics, AI cannot just stop attacks. It can make some decisions about this is high risk, this is mid risk. But humans at the end of the day ensure that the compliance, like human ensure that it is actually compliance with regulations and ethical considerations at the end of the day. So if AI is not carefully managed, it can actually like introduce privacy concerns. So in as much as we cannot really confidently or fully say that we want to rely on it, we also need to ensure that there is a balance. So that is why I usually say collaboration is key when it comes to AI and human in cybersecurity. They need to work together. AI enhances the security operations. It handle all the heavy tasks, while humans provide the oversight. We provide the strategic thinking, we provide the human intuition, the critical thinking. And I think that is one of the parts that is still missing in AI, which is the critical thinking parts, right? It can help us to filter through whatever we have, but it cannot give us that strategic thinking, that ethical decision making, the oversight that we are looking at, and also critically looking at something and making observation or a case out of it. So there's still like a need to blend these two together in terms of collaboration, and also introducing and evangelizing for ethical AI is also like one of the key things. And I'm not sure whether this is the final slide, but I guess so. We have building a trust framework. And this is one of the, I would say this is one of the things that I've seen that really like helped for AI to be really effective in cybersecurity. Trust is everything. Even before AI, we know that trust is sort of like an integral part of like our work. So if security teams don't trust how that AI makes decision, then we shouldn't rely on it. That is it. If we don't trust the solution we want to integrate into our system, then there is no need for us to integrate it. So the key is building a framework that ensures that AI is fair and accountable. But how do we actually do that? How do we build this trust framework? And we have the ongoing training for security teams. Like one of the things that we talked about earlier is about the shortage or in terms of security gaps for AI and cybersecurity, right? So we need to ensure that there is ongoing training for security teams. AI is not replacing security teams. It is working alongside them. So for that one to really happen smoothly, we need to ensure that the security professionals need regular trainings on how to use AI tools. We cannot just purchase a tool and give it to them to use. We still need to train them on how to use it, on what is this thing being used or trained on. So there is still a need for ongoing training for security teams for us to be able to build that trust framework. If you tell me to integrate a particular software into the system and I don't know how it works, I don't know the kind of data that is being built on, I mean, I might probably second guess it because I don't want to expose the company's information to more risk. So that means I am not trusting it. So for me to be able to trust it, I need to know how this thing, I need to be trained on how to use it. I need to be trained on what this tool is actually all about, so that it's to take off all any bias or any thinking or second guessing that I might actually have. Then we have regular audits of AI performance, just like the way we do regular audits for Teams, we do regular audits for our normal systems, even without AI. We also need to ensure that we check this particular system regularly to ensure that it is making accurate decisions. Is it making a false positives decision? Is it making a negative, is it making a true positives, a negative positive, or a false positive kind of decision? So we actually need to like know how this thing is being done, and we don't want to overlook any certain threats that AI is also helping us. And open communication with stakeholders is also like a key thing. AI insecurity is not only a technical issue, it affects the entire organization. If the stakeholders leave it to the hands of the security team, yes, they trust them to make that decision. But at the end of the day, the leaders, the IT teams, employees should also understand what AI is doing, what limit does it have, and how it actually fits into the company's overall security strategy. So there needs to be like an open communication with what is happening. It could be like a quarterly audit of, oh, this new tool that we just bought, we are thinking of for the next 12 months, we'll be giving quarterly audits on its performance. That's for us to stay transparent on this is what is currently happening, and also keeping everyone in the loop of what is happening rather than waiting till it's brings in or open a door to the bad actors before we communicate to the stakeholders. So we need to like keep communicating to them, not on a monthly basis. I mean, it also depends on the company's culture, but I'm based on what I've done, it's always like a quarterly basis, especially when we introduce new tool. Anytime we introduce like a new tool, we ensure that we do a quarterly based check to put everyone into the loop. Then when everything is well established, we can move it to like the annual reports or maybe every 6 months reports. But for a start, we usually do quarterly to ensure that we are communicating what is meant to be communicated. And on the last part for us to build the trust framework, we have clear protocols for like the human oversight. AI can help us to respond to things we want, but at the end of the day, security decisions still need human judgment. So trusting AI in cybersecurity doesn't happen overnight. We cannot let it happen. And sometimes we just need to be able to like leverage our own judgments based on whatever reviews or things that we are getting. But with proper training, if you are like considering monitoring, then also looking at transparency, AI can actually become a trusted and effective part of organization security strategy. So I know that trust is like one of the huge things why companies might not probably like consider it, but this is also like interesting to see that if we put this trust framework into check, it can actually help us to trust AI better if we keep monitoring it, if we are transparent with how the solution is being done with the stakeholders, if we are using our own human oversight, which is our own intuition to make judgment about what is happening, and not just letting AI does its thing. I think it will also like help. And I'm not okay. And I think this is the last part. We already talked about the ethical challenges, and this is also the same thing as we still have bias in the system. There is still privacy concerns. We cannot over rely on AI to work. We need to always ensure that we fact check it. We need to ensure that it is not being misused. We need to know how the data is being stored. We need to know where the data is coming from. If we are integrating it into our system, we also need to understand how that particular solution works before, so we will not have open ourselves up to third-party risk. Third-party risk is also a huge part of our work. And if we are integrating an IT provider solution, we need to know how it works from their own end. so that we will know, and also the kind of data that this particular solution is extracting from our system. So we not open the system up to like third-party risk. And on the final note, we have what is actually the future of AI for cybersecurity. What is next for AI in cybersecurity? We already know that it is making security faster, but it is not a perfect solution like we usually say. So what can we expect moving forward is it will continue to enhance real-time threat detection every day. AI is already great at spotting threats, even faster than humans can, but cyber criminals are also catching on as well. They are coming up with different tactics. So they are also using AI to create more sophisticated attacks, which means security teams will need to stay one step ahead if they are leveraging AI. Even if they are not leveraging AI, whether you are currently using AI or not, the bad actors are coming up with sophisticated attacks. So AI will continue to enhance the real-time threat detection, and also for automation. It is definitely helping security teams, and it will also continue helping security teams work faster. But because AI relies on historical data, it can, sometimes make biased decisions or generate false positives, something that is not true, but say it is true. So that means we will need to better understand ways to fine-tune the AI models, or also find ways to avoid unnecessary alerts and errors that could probably bring in like something that we are not looking forward to. And human AI collaboration will be so essential. We need to know that at this point, AI is here to stay. There is no more second guessing, except till like further notice, when probably they feel like, oh yeah, this is no more bringing opportunities, or it is bringing more risk that we expect or envision. But for now, AI is still here. And seen as much as it is here, we as professionals need to open ourselves up on how we can collaborate to make AI better. And we need to also ensure that we have our security strategies, we make ethical decisions, we evangelize for ethical decisions, even if we are not integrating AI solutions into our system. It might even be as little as the company telling employees to be using, different LLM, let's say Gemini, ChatGPT, to make their work efficient. Maybe it is not even to monitor threats or even stay compliant. Maybe just for all employees, like, oh yeah, we have a new AI tools that we can use. We also need to start advocating as they are integrating the tools, as they are looking at bringing in the tools. We also need to start advocating for the ethical concern, also advocate for AI, like cybersecurity role in these tools. So it will handle automation, but human will always remain responsible for the big picture. So in the end, AI is going to play a bigger role in cybersecurity, but it won't take a standalone situation. So the future is more of like the AI human expertise working together. And yeah, I feel like that is like just how I want to like cap it for us to get ready for the human AI collaboration and open ourselves up to learn some things that we feel like we need to be aware of to stay ahead of all these sophisticated attacks that they are coming up with, and also to help our company stay ethical when it comes to the use of AI in any area of the business. It doesn't have to be even in the cybersecurity area. It could be the marketing team trying to use ChatGPT. Any information that they are feeding it with, they are also, if they are not careful with the information, they are exposing the company to a risk that we don't know whether it's going to be high risk or mid risk. So at this point, I think, yeah, that is everything that I have to talk about regarding the automation. We are seeing the evolution coming in, different providers are coming in. But if also there is something that I've also noticed, while companies and providers are coming with different AI security solution, is that we need to also be asking the IT providers question, because there is still AI washing when it comes to security. they think they are building solutions that are helping the security team, but it is more just posing new risk to the team. So we need to start asking questions, tough questions to the providers that we either want to integrate or our companies want to integrate. So is it fine if I stop sharing? No, I can just leave it here. Anyone?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you want to stop the can, or
And yeah, so I am so open up to like taking questions right now.
Yeah, I have a couple questions, but I also want to open up to the group, and then if somebody doesn't want to ask a question on video or on recording, we can stop it in a couple minutes, and then you can ask your question, because I know some people don't like to do it when they're recorded, but I'd like to get like some of the information captured if we can. So yeah, my question was like, is there a balance between like AI maybe creating more false positives that humans have to go research versus it actually kind of bubbling up the good stuff to the top, right? Like where's that middle ground, and where are we at today with it? Or is it more risky to use AI, or is it actually, or does it probably depends, right?
Yeah. So what I would say is it depends on the use case, and at the end of the day, we can't really like trust AI. So we also need to ensure that we do our own like background check if we want to use that particular tool. I can't really like just trust a software that is being used by a huge amount of data to come help me filter through the logs. I also need to, until we get to that stage that we can say, okay, this is, but currently there is still like hallucinations with the responses that people are getting, because they are feeding me with the data. All those tools that we are using, they are feeding me like a huge amount of data. So it is getting there, but not to the point where we can say it is that good. So it still need fact check, like human oversight, and maybe also ensuring that we are not over reliant on AI, so that we can ensure that it is helping and it is not imposing new risk to us. So we haven't really like gotten to the stage where we can say this is really good. So there's still a need for human with AI. And the first positive thing is still coming up, because I know that I've seen different use cases where the system flags a particular activity as a threat, but it isn't a threat. So if we don't really bring in our own human intuition to actually investigate that, we might probably target as a threat. So yeah, there is still like false positive, and there is still the negative side of it, or something saying, oh, this works, but in real sense, it just doesn't work.
Well, yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to make a comment.
Sorry.
In my earlier career, I worked mostly in engineering. I worked in electrical engineering. And the robots weren't always perfect. We had to work with them, just like with the AI. And I see AI as a time-saving tool, but it needs to be monitored. I've worked in cybersecurity and risk management throughout my whole career. I'm very good at cybersecurity, risk, and test type of documentation. I'm a technical writer, and I also am very good at business analysis, like I had mentioned before. But I just want to make the comment that I see it as not going away. It's like Facebook. It's not going away. You better get used to it. But I think it's going to be very helpful. And I really enjoyed, is it Rianat? Is that how you?
Yeah, Rianat. Yeah,
I really enjoyed your presentation. I definitely want a copy of it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for like staying tonight. And I actually totally agree with what you said. It's like Facebook, it's here to stay. We have to, and it's time, it's really, really helping with efficiency and helping us to save time, which is a good thing. So yeah, thank you for the comments. That's
You're welcome.
I would say that, we are doing this right now, trying to figure out where AI can actually help us, right? We have alerts coming in, and is this an important alert or not? Or I need to go look up this IP address. It'll take me 5 minutes to go look it up, or maybe AI can go do it for me and give me a synopsis of it. But it is, I was telling my boss yesterday, it's like, it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. No idea if it's going to be of any value whatsoever in 3 months, just because it is, sometimes it just makes things up. And, I can make an API call to get the data. It's not quite as, it may not come out as nice, but the data is still the same. So yeah, the basic idea of it's a tool. It may or may not be a useful tool, but it's still a tool. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
right. Yeah. And we have to like just get ready to embrace it because it is really here.
Yeah.
And yeah, companies are seeing the opportunities to start looking at the area of how can we better make things better, or probably spot opportunities where we think it's taking time for us to say so.
Yeah. Everybody at our company has 100% jumped in the pool of AI is the future. And if you're not doing AI, you're doing it wrong. It's like, not 100% sold.
Yeah. I feel like we still haven't gotten to the stage where we can confidently say, okay, yeah, it is until we see the balance a little bit in terms of the risk and the opportunity. If the risk that it is, we haven't really like seen much because it's still probably like fresh in terms of like the opportunities. But until people tend to see, oh yeah, the risk is not as much, so let's go with the opportunities. So let's definitely fully embrace AI. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's still here. We are using it every day. So
Yeah, and I think it's gonna eliminate redundant tasks and help with complex things, but I don't think it's necessarily going to replace people. I think a lot of people are worried it's gonna replace people. It's like we still need the people, to interact. Like
yeah.
a technical writer, and I said, oh, that's AI, it's just gonna replace you. They'll just tell AI what they want and AI will write it. It's like, no. Human interaction is required, and especially the analysis, like everybody thinks that, people are writers and they just write it. Well, the research and analysis is 70% and the writing is only 30%. So, you can't replace a technical writer with AI. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah. That's still the fair in the industry. And I feel like for now, there is nothing like, even in the future, I'm not sensing anything replacing it because I don't see any business leader trusting their whole system with sensitive information without human having to oversee it. So
Especially in banking. I've worked in banking a lot. Banking and insurance, that's where all the money's at in the whole country,
Yeah.
Everywhere really, but yeah.
yeah, you're right. You're
The
right.
risk is too high. They've got to have it monitored.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I'm Kelly Bedingfield. I'm a newbie to cybersecurity. I finished a boot camp in November, after almost a year at University of Florida. And then I started in the SANS immersion program. And I think in the time I've been in school, the demand for newbie types has gone way down. I think a lot of it's being done by AI. Do you guys have any advice on any kind of training that might help me to be able to at least get my foot in the door, other than maybe getting a job at a help desk or something?
Yeah. I think maybe the first question I would probably like ask is there like a particular area of cybersecurity that you are interested in? Because it's also like depends on like where you are interested in. So that will also guide in knowing what to recommend. Or are you just saying like in terms of the broader scope of what to learn itself?
At this point, it is frustrating I just want to be able to get a first job somewhere. I don't really know until I think I get started what I'm going to want to do. Right now, I'm a high school math teacher. I've been a high school math teacher for many years. I want to be challenged. Initially I thought I wanted to do incident response, but it seems like there's no way I'm going to be able to get on some kind of a team doing that at this point, at least not with many years of experience.
Yeah, I mean, what I usually like recommend is to try to do a whole lot of like hands-on, because is doing hands-on projects really helps beyond just taking courses. And that is because in cybersecurity you have to know how to do it. And one of the way is there are a lot of people that have to build their virtual lab on their laptop to be able to do some little things, post those projects together as a portfolio. And what I also have done, and I've also like probably like tell people, is the projects, the little projects you're working on, put them together, document them. Those ones will help to save, even if you don't have like experience, it will serve as something that, oh, this person is curious and open to learn. I'm putting it on the resume that you've built, like you have your own home lab. And places where, for me, my own experience is always like towards like the Blue Team incident response, and that is like my own case. So I can speak from that perspective. And doing a whole lot of like hands-on lab work. There are different like softwares, different platforms, free platforms online that I leveraged when I started out to ensure that I just like do some little projects and put them together. I can share some of the projects, some of the links here, so that you can probably like use them. Then also competitions, like if you go to conferences, I also attend conferences a lot, and I will say that some of these conferences usually have like competitions to be able to do like hackathons. So if you're speaking to like potential recruiters or potential employers at a company, at a conference, so you can easily talk about like the little projects that you've done, and can't really tell where that opportunity will come in. I've seen people that transition from after like years of experience in sales, and they come into like cybersecurity. But what really helps is that they have something to show for it that they've done, and that ties back to like the projects. So while you're trying to like take the bootcamp, this little project that you're trying to do online, I can probably like look for the link and also like put it here, so you can just like explore the link and.
Well, I'm in the SANS immersion program, which is
Oh,
9 months, and we do
yeah.
lots of projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I know to keep track of those. Same thing with the boot camp. Anytime we're learning new tools, keep track of the projects. I just wondered if there are certain technical things that are becoming less relevant.
Okay.
Should I be thinking more about policy and less about the technical, because of AI seems to be like creeping up on me. I mean, really, I've been working at it the last year and a half. A year and a half ago, there were a lot more jobs available for entry level than there are now. But anybody else have any thoughts on what you're seeing?
We have discussed in different places the one of the challenges of AI is that it is a good junior developer or whatever technical to here go do this small task. So that is something that I think is real. The challenge is going to be if you don't have the junior people now, in 5 years, you're not going to have the intermediate folks to do that work. So that's going to be don't know what's going to happen when that bubble hits. I do agree 100% that one project is worth a whole lot of classroom experience. So being able, if I'm interviewing someone, being able to talk about here's a thing I did and here's how this worked is really important. 100% agree on the conferences, talking to people. The one thing I would add is just cybersecurity is just really big. There are whole areas that I know nothing about on the team that I work with, and it's like if this comes up, yeah, it's that guy over there is, I can't even do the things that he does. We're all in cybersecurity, so just trying to figure out what is the piece of it that you put your flag on the ground, say this is my area of expertise, which is the technical side, the ethical hacking side, the policy of GRC, so many different areas to get to be in, and just what's your personality, what is your temperament, what are the things you like to do. and which area of cybersecurity, fits best, right? I came at it from a developer, so I was a developer for a bunch of years, and I still think on mostly like a developer. So the more corporate security sorts of things, I know I need to learn them at some point, but that's a future goal for me. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people too overlook sort of like the vendory sales side. Like
yeah,
they think like, hey, like I get a job in a company or I gotta work for that. But one of my first early jobs in cyber was for a vendor. So and I learned a lot because you end up working with a lot of companies. It was more of a consultant job, but even if you're just there like help, like support a product or something for there's so much like money on the vendor side that I feel like that might be an easier way to get in at times. So, even if you're having to start from the kind of ground level, working
Do
right.
you mean, what do you mean by vendor, like an MSP? Or
Yeah, or just any security
what do you
tool,
mean
right?
by
There's like thousands of cybersecurity tools. We don't
Sure.
have a shortage of that. Yeah. So just anything that might be interesting, just, see if they're hiring, even just like I said, just support roles or, customer management. So a lot of times, right, if people have a background in, more kind of, I guess, communication-y type roles, right? I mean, you're a teacher, right? So, you can take those skills and say, hey, I can come and help you set up your training materials for your company. Like, I kind of have that background and that skill set, and then you're kind of in the company, and then hey, start to network and hey, can I go work over here instead? And that would be
Mhm.
something that, we talk about too, is kind of taking what you have and see if you can kind of go into cyber the other way, because I came from the help desk background, so that was my history and many years ago at this point. But yeah,
that's a
Oh,
good point. There is mountains of companies out there in cybersecurity these days. So that's a whole set of jobs, and separately is the whole, the people who buy all those tools, and yeah, so yeah, like I said, I do think just I remember, I vaguely remember, back in the day, it's like, any job as a developer would be great, but it's like, well, that sometimes gets hard because it's hard to be targeting, a particular area when it's just so broad. So yeah.
You might want to go to your local library and talk to the systems analyst or the system administrator. They probably have a lot of information for you as far as what you can study about AI. I'm sure they're really up on it because they have to be. If there was a virus in one of the computers in the library, it starts to affect all of them. And I have a family member that does that for a living. I hope he never retires. But ask one of them. They're pretty sharp.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and stop the recording now. So.